on Friday, the Obama administration, the State Department, which is part of the Obama administration, it's in the executive branch of government, released a report, a much-awaited report, about the Keystone XL Pipeline, the report that is supposed to set the stage for the president deciding whether or not to approve the completion of something that looks to me like it's already pretty much completed. So Ryan Koronowski is on the line with us. Am I saying that right, Ryan?
You are.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Deputy Editor of Climate Progress over at the thinkprogress.org blog. And Ryan, welcome. You've been on our program before, haven't you?
I think this is actually my first time.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us. What the State Department doesn't say about the KXL pipeline, what is it that John Kerry and his associates at the State Department aren't telling us?
Well, the interesting thing about this report is essentially, I don't know how much you're familiar with the backstory of all of this, but TransCanada is a company in surprisingly enough Canada that wants to build and complete this pipeline. You might have heard over the last few weeks reports of the southern leg of the Keystone XL Pipeline being completed from essentially Nebraska to the refineries in Texas.
Yeah, we've reported on the show, and we had Daryl Hannah on back when they were trying to fight eminent domain, and her and a lady rancher, and we've been on. We're on the story.
Now there's
and the Koch brothers, owning a bunch of the oil at the top and owning the refineries at the bottom, and I mean, it's just, jeez.
Well, what this report was about was the northern leg, and that's the one that is yet uncompleted because it needs this approval from the State Department. Because it crosses the border. So essentially what this report was, it's a final environmental impact statement, which means that it's this sort of next step. They were ordered to go back to the drawing board a couple of years ago to kind of redo this, but we're basically back on the same spot as we were with what the State Department believes this project to entail. What they're not telling us is essentially what they looked at was they're assuming that this tar sands oil, which is incredibly difficult to extract, takes a lot of greenhouse gases to actually get it out of the ground, and then it burns very dirtily. Pardon me. So they're assuming that is going to come out of the ground, no matter what.
Right, which is not necessarily an appropriate assumption. If there was even a modest carbon tax, because so much energy is required to extract the oil from this. It's not even oil, really. It's bitumen or bitumen, depending on whether you're British or American, and that has been ground up and put into a slurry with water, basically, to flush down the pipe. If I have this right,
I think you got it exactly right. So Reuters took a look at this middle of last year, and the presumption is this is going to happen anyways. And that's a sort of disingenuous thing to assume because, this is 800,000 barrels of oil per day that are going to be coming down this pipeline if it gets approved.
Right.
That's very difficult to make up in rail shipments, and rail shipments are pretty dangerous. You probably have heard, and I'm sure you've reported.
Yeah, we've had more explosions in the last year than we've had in the last 37 years.
37 years, you got it.
Yeah.
So it's not only is it not feasible, economically, it's really difficult. They really are pushing. There's no reason they would be pushing for this so hard if they'd just be able to just as easily get the tar sands out of the ground through another pathway.
Right.
So this, as you mentioned before, we've had just as many oil spills in the last year as we had in the last 37 years. It's getting worse.
Here's the piece of pushback that doesn't make sense to me, and why hasn't the environmental movement pushed on this harder? They want to get this stuff down to the Gulf of Mexico. The only reason that anybody would want to get fuel to the Gulf of Mexico to refine is so that we can keep the poisons, the byproduct of the refining. We can have a larger cancer alley in Texas and Louisiana, and we can ship the diesel fuel and gasoline off to other countries. Now, the jingoists are saying that diesel fuel and gasoline is going to go to America, TransCanada itself has come out and said, no, it's not. In fact, they issued a document over a year ago saying that you'd see the prices in middle America actually go up of gasoline if this thing was completed. So why isn't anybody asking the question, why can't they just refine this stuff in Canada? And then if we want to buy their gasoline or their diesel fuel, we can do that.
Right, and they're using it as an energy security. You know, the two main tenets of their argument are that it's going to create jobs, which there's been plenty. That State Department itself, even as much problems as there were with the report, the report will tell you that it will create only 35 permanent jobs. So the jobs argument.
Long term, it's a small number of short term construction projects, and so you've got maybe one or two unions that think that it's a good thing for just a short while, but why not say, we would be glad to do international trade with Canada, and then you got these very disingenuous television ads that talk about North American energy independence rather than American, and everybody in America translates that into the United States when actually what they're talking about is taking foreign oil, Canadian oil, and bringing it to the United States, and then we refine it here, we keep the poisons, and we don't even get all the oil and gasoline out of that. We just get the poisons. We get the cancers. We get the air pollution. We get the asthma. Why don't... Has anybody ever asked that question? And do you know the answer to that question, Ryan? Why don't they refine this crap in their own country, keep their own damn poisons, and if they want to make a profit selling the gasoline and the diesel fuel, fine, we'll buy it from them.
I think that's a great question. I think that they would have to their answer would be forced to be that they don't have the refining capacity. They're dependent on.
They don't want the refining capacity because you can build a refinery a hell of a lot faster and easier than you can build a pipeline across a continent. Right.
I mean, the other side of that is there's just a study out today. I think the University of Toronto found that the environmental impact statements that were like the studies that were done up in Alberta. Of the environmental impacts up there. There's actually been massive spills throughout as you extract the tar sands, because essentially what you do is you kind of push a lot of steam into the ground so that this goopy stuff can come back out. But they just had a study today that those statements, those impact statements, were not done as completely as as they should have.
So everybody's lying to us, and then we find that the Koch brothers might make even more profit on this than they're actually even worth right now.
Right.
So it's like, gee, I think there might be some money in the politics of this.
Absolutely.
This is which I realize could be taken as a whack on the Obama administration, and this is not the Sean Hannity show, but something is rotten in Denmark, or at least in Calgary, and we need to find out what it is. Ryan Koronowski, thanks so much for the great reporting you're doing over at the Center for American Progress's blog, thinkprogress.org, the Climate Progress blog. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks much, Tom.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
And you can read Ryan's piece, The 7 Things That the State Department's Not Telling You, over at thinkprogress.org. It's a great read. Check it out.